the boat. Now I only share that with you because, like, let's say for example we're talking about our trimmer knife. We would not say something like, hey, this knife is really great and it, slices tomatoes real thin and, it's a good knife. We would say something like, have you ever tried to cut a tomato with a dull knife? Yeah, what happens, right? You get salsa. Well, with the trimmer, you get paper-thin slices every single time. By having this trimmer knife, no juices, no mess, no cleanup, it would be fantastic and it'd be like that forever, And so we really try and paint a picture for the customer of what cooking and food preparation and life will be like when they have the Cutco. This has nothing to do with how to sell knives. This is basic presentation skills 101. Does that make sense? Truly skills for life, and hopefully the things that you learn here transcend the business and you guys get that. It's not about really selling knives. The knives are already pretty good. So I only share that with you because it's already in your manual. It's set up like that. But like I said, I don't want you to just read it. I want you to understand what you're doing so that you're more effective that way, so you maybe know where to emphasize certain points or where to be enthusiastic in your speak with the customer, something like that, okay? The second phrase I'd have you jot down is your set, your tool. Your set, your tool. Your set, your tool. Again, this is not going to be a Cutco. This is not going to be a Cutco how to sell knives skill. This is going to be a very basic skill of how to do a presentation. Think about it like this. Let's go back to the boat example, right? When I was talking to my customer about the boat and I was painting this picture for him, I didn't say, imagine you're on my boat and your wife is on my boat, your kids are fishing on my boat, you're holding the wheel of my boat. Does that make sense? Because everything was, imagine you're on your boat, your family's on your boat, you're holding the wheel of your new boat. Does that make sense? So we always want to do what's called creating ownership with our customers. Whenever we talk about the pieces, it's always the next tool in your set is this is your trimmer knife. You will use your trimmer for your tomatoes. Does that make sense? It's all about your. And this is key. Because think about if you worked in advertising for a living, right? And you went to a company to pitch a new commercial or a new billboard ad or something like that. You wouldn't say, imagine my commercial getting to your customers. You'd say, imagine your new commercial getting to all your customers. Does that make sense? So it's a real basic presentation skill, but I'm sure you guys probably knew that already. I just wanted to throw that in for you, okay? All right, let's start on the top of page 6 here. It says, realizing the importance of having the right tools. We had a group of home economists design your basic Cutco set to have the minimum number of tools to do 100% of the jobs in your kitchen as efficiently as possible. Now the set is called, and if you'll add a Y right there, the set is called your homemaker set, and it starts with your paring knife. The set is called your homemaker set, and it starts with your paring knife. Now, for each one of these tools, okay, for each one of these tools, I am going to give you nicknames, and you'll write those nicknames right under the pictures, okay? We have pictures in there so you can learn the sets and the pieces really quickly. You're never going to, not know what the pieces are because you can match it up with the pictures. We try and make it very user-friendly. But what you'll want to do is you'll put the nicknames. Now, I give you those nicknames so that you can, almost like word association, remember what the pieces are used for instantly, and we can reduce the learning curve in knowing what these pieces are used for. So if a customer ever said, hey, what's that used for again? You just remember the nickname and you're like, oh yeah, boom, boom, boom. Here's exactly what it's used for, okay? The nickname for the paring knife is the air knife. This is the air knife, okay? Always remember the phrase pair in the air. This is the air knife. This paring knife is for jobs only done in the air. Now, what do you guys notice different about my paring knife versus maybe one you've seen before? Really long handle, right? Well, the reason for that is because most paring knives have a short, stubby handle that digs into your palm. Our full-size handle allows for greater comfort and control and makes it safer to use. Now, this is really great for pitting peaches and nectarines, removing eyes from potatoes, removing roots and stems from fruits and vegetables, slicing bananas for cereal, and coring apples as well. Okay? Now, if you look down, what do you notice different about this paring knife? Most paring knives have a short, stubby handle that digs into your palm, or full-size handle. I just said all that pretty much word for word, didn't I? I wanted to show you, if you liked how I sounded, if you liked the consistency, the fluidity, and the conversational tone, if you thought that it sounded good, that's only another reason or way that I'm reinforcing. All you got to do is follow the training manual, okay? Because everything I just said to you, looking you straight in the eye, was identical from the training manual as well, okay? And so I share that with you because I really want to make sure you guys are just following it word for word, and eventually it'll sound better and better and better and better and better, okay? It's not supposed to sound perfect yet. We got a long way to go. So anyway, have you guys, just real quick, if you'll look up here, you guys ever seen your grandma over a super stew with like some carrots, celery, or she's doing a motion like this, maybe with some potatoes, maybe she's peeling or something? That's a paring knife. This is an essential tool. You cannot find sets of cutlery that don't come with a paring knife. They don't even sell sets of knives without paring knives. This is an essential tool. It's for all your small jobs, all your jobs you would do in the air. Can you cut a big head of lettuce with this? Are you going to carve a turkey with this? You going to carve a Thanksgiving ham or a Christmas ham with this thing? No. You even going to cut through like a big, sub sandwich or something with this? No, not at all. So realize this is only going to be for your small jobs, and that's it. Does that make sense? We don't have customers who will just purchase a paring knife because then they only have one job covered and not everything else. That's why customers purchase sets. Does that make sense? So they can have the right tool for the right job. So that's your paring knife. Any questions on your paring knife? Okay, the next tool in your set, notice how I'm saying the your set, your tool. The next tool in your set would be your trimmer. Okay, now this knife right here, by the way, the nickname for this is the tomato knife. So if you write that under the picture, this is the tomato knife. And I'll tell you, the trimmer is by far the most famous knife that Cutco makes. The most famous knife we make. You don't necessarily need to add that. I'm just giving you a little bit more information. If you look back here at the seal of approval, this is from the Cooking Club of America. They've endorsed several of our products. The trimmer is kind of the featured one. And our trimmer knife is by far the most famous knife that Cutco makes. This is the knife that you'll see in the National Museum of Art in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Paris, France. Because of the size and function, this is probably the knife your mom's going to use the most. So this is the knife moms, or the female of the household, will use the most, is the trimmer knife, okay? And it's a great size, for everybody. Do you guys, your mom ever do boneless, skinless chicken breasts, yes or no? Okay? So you know how on those chicken cutlets, they got little pieces of fat and you cut those off, right? Usually, you use a serrated edge knife and you have to really get after those things to cut them off. Well, it's called the trimmer because you just trim. One slice, one trim, get the fat right off, and it's completely done. Have you guys ever tried to cut a tomato with a dull knife? Yeah, it smashes down, you get salsa, you got a mess. With the trimmer, you get paper-thin slices every single solitary time. This is an unbelievable piece. Is our trimmer extremely, extremely popular, that's for sure. Okay, let me just read this to you as though I was on a demo, okay? The next tool in your set would be your trimmer. This is the tomato knife. This is your kitchen utility tool. Now you can see that mine has a pearl handle, and I got a black set here, but you can see mine has a pearl handle. Well look, all our knives come in either the classic or the pearl. So which color do you like better? And in your samples, your trimmer will have a white handle. Does that make sense? So you go, hey, which color do you like better? And at that point they'll say one or the other, and now you know what color they're going to want their set to come in when they purchase it at a later point. You guys follow with me? Okay, so have you ever tried to cut a tomato with a dull knife? Sure, you get salsa, right? Well, with the trimmer, you'll get paper-thin slices, and you won't smash the tomato. It's also great for sectioning grapefruit, slicing cucumbers, skinning chicken, or taking the fat off meats as well. It's important to go through that entire list because we don't exactly know what the customer, what all the food preparation that they do, so we list them all out so that they hear a couple that they do, and they're like, oh yeah, now I can see how I would use that piece. Does that make sense? Okay, the next tool in your set will be your spatula spreader, and this is a really popular piece here. Anybody, music, I know you're Josh, big musician. Anybody know what note this is? It's a B sharp, knives, haha, funny, right? It's my stupid joke of the day. Look, I always throw in the stupid jokes with my customers like that because the more fun they have, the more entertaining I am, the more fun I have,